Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Game Master Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am making my return as promised to my coverage of ShadowDark RPG, and this will be the first of at least two videos covering the Game Master's tips and tools found within this game system. So today's video I'm planning on covering from your role to the modes of play, and then I'll get into some of the tables like encounter tables and whatnot in later on videos. So without further ado, let's jump right into ShadowDark RPG, Game Master's Tips and Tools. So as you can see here, I am starting off on page 105, at least on the PDF, and I will start going through. So your role. Now, I am going to cover this portion of, just explaining terminology, because not that ShadowDark does it very much differently than, many other Dungeons and Dragons based RPGs, but because I am pushing forth the idea that ShadowDark is a great game system to introduce new players to role-playing games in general, that's why I'm going to focus on this here. So without further ado, the Game Master is the world spinner, the all-wise, the ventriloquist. You are the deadly pit trap and the assassin in the night. You are the storm, the army, the gods. You hold ultimate power, yet you only want one thing: to see your players triumph. So you craft malevolent villains worth defeating. You sculpt marvelous treasures worth stealing. You fill the world with rot and darkness and death, so it can be driven back by the sword, spell, and flame. Through this, you offer an invitation. You propose it loudly, with roaring dragons, humbly with helpless villagers, secretly with hidden treasure maps. You call the players to adventure, and they answer. The only rule is that you make the rules. What's written in this book is a guide, not a constraint, and none of it takes precedence over your judgment. If something doesn't work at your table, change it or throw it out, and don't look back. The pact. You and your players are gaming together to have fun, prop each other up, and strengthen bonds. This is the pact. The pact is often unspoken and unseen, but it is always felt. It is based on goodwill, respect, and fellowship. Its enemies are selfishness, antagonism, and arrogance. Decisions made to defend the pact are always good ones. The players. Adventure hooks. When you give When you give adventure hooks to the characters, you're actually encouraging the players to grab onto those threads. While you can't expect your players to take every hook, you can make a call to adventure more exciting by knowing what your players want. Player motivations generally fall into the following categories. Powerful adventure hooks contain elements of all three. Reward. Players want more treasure and XP to make their character stronger. Heroism. Players want to right wrongs, save the day, or make a name for their characters. This is especially true for players who love role-playing. Discovery. Much like solving a mystery, players want to know why a problem or location exists and what the secrets hide, and what secrets it hides. The audience. The players are the real audience to the game's story, not the characters. Lean into this. For example, the players might be in great suspense because you just rolled a random encounter check in front of them, similar to a horror movie where the audience watches a murderer slink towards the main character. The suspense comes from the players not knowing what is about to happen. Dramatic question. Most encounters have a simple yes or no question driving the interest. When the question is answered, the encounter is no longer exciting to the players, and it's time to move forward. Dramatic questions are not always obvious. The question for an encounter with a troll guarding a bridge is not whether the characters can kill the troll, but whether they can get across. The core ethos. These are ShadowDark's RPG's core principles and foundations. Time, the most important resource. It must haunt the characters' every decision. They don't have time to search every floor tile for a trap. Darkness. Respect the darkness. It is the true foe. Few things can hold it at bay, and nothing must make those prized tools obsolete. Gear. Gear is precious and limited. Give value and utility to all of it. Action economy. PCs get just one action per turn. Make it count. Using multitasking, page 88, for boring small stuff. Information. Dispense information freely. If the characters test the floor where there's a trap, they find it. Distance. Close, near, and far distances are loose and don't require precise measurements. Nobody wants to miss firing an arrow into a dragon's eye because of a mere 5-foot deficit. Danger. Casting spells comes with great risk. Magic items are volatile. Fights are fast and unfair. Monsters are insidious. Rewarding investment. Honor that has been earned. If a character learns a new language, make it matter. Allow new titles or iconic deeds to have an impact on the characters' lives. Stat checks. The characters automatically succeed at what they are trained to do. Only use stat checks when there is time pressure and the failure has dire consequences. On balance. Be unpredictable. In this book, more than a few words are spent explaining the typical amount of treasure. On the average, build of a monster. But typical and average adventuring is not the goal. Those numbers are calibrations, so you know where to start. Use them to feel out the rudder of your game, and know what makes something easy or hard. Then become unpredictable. If the players think they can win every fight, they won't feel fear. They won't be careful. They won't use their wits. If all treasure is similar in value, there will be no epic trophies to pursue, no motivation. Instead, fill your world with stark dangers and stunning treasures. The most glorious victories are the hard-earned ones. Telegraph danger. When you remove predictability, you want to add a replacement ingredient, telegraphing danger. Don't make threats a secret unless the players utterly failed to gather information. If the characters are getting close to a manticore's cave, describe the crushed skull and the bones, the reek of rotting meat, and the silence of birds. Choices matter. A choice between two identical options, which door do you open, the one on the left or the one on the right, is not actually a choice. Players need a way to gather information about their options and make an informed decision. That creates interesting choices. Careful players should be able to find a deep claw marks on one of the doors, or catch the low snoring on the other side. Running the game. Adventures. An adventure is a set of related encounters and incidents that tie to a common plot thread. For example, the characters might go on an adventure to defeat a ruinous plague cultist hiding beneath the Temple of Krull. Devising an adventure requires the characters to have a problem or desire they can solve using their unique skills. These are usually tied to a person's location or item. Often, there is time pressure driving the characters to act. See the Adventures section on page 122 for adventure ideas. Campaigns. Adventures that tie together into a series of related stories are a campaign. Sometimes campaigns are centered around a plot or villain, and sometimes they grow out of the characters' explorations and deeds. A real quick note, a campaign can be adventuring within a certain timeline. So they don't necessarily have to be interconnected or related stories of various adventures that have a common thread or theme running through them. You can have a campaign that is much more loosely bound to adventurers adventuring through a particular region, and that region may take them months or even years to fully explore. And so it's not any one given even series of adventures that they go on, but it is the entire career that you have the characters, starting and then finishing with. NPCs. Non-player characters are rich resources of quests, treasure, danger, and motivation. Not all NPCs need a backstory, but giving each a name, appearance, mannerisms, and secret makes them into memorable personas. See NPCs on page 124 and rival crawlers on page 126 for ideas and generation tables. The mundane. The characters transform from weak peasants to legendary heroes by adventuring. During that journey, the importance of basic gear, the fleeting nature of wealth, and the danger of a pack of armed bandits should never become mere trifles. Even a 10th level character's life should sometimes depend on whether a simple mundane rope snaps or holds. Setting DCs. The 4 standard DCs of easy, a 9 out of 20, rolling above a 9 out of 20, normal, a 12, hard, a 15, and extreme, 18, are universal and help you quickly decide a DC. When determining the difficulty of a task, take the creature into account. Finding a trail in a sunny field would be easy task for a forest elf with tracking skills, but it would be a hard task for a sun-dazzled cave troll. When you ask players to make a check, state what kind of a check it is. For example, an easy charisma check or a DC 15 dexterity check. That way the player knows what they need to roll to succeed. Challenge variety. The characters should face a multitude of challenges during an adventure, including combat, dealing with NPCs, or overcoming the environment. Each class excels at different tasks. Thieves love to scout and talk to NPCs. Fighters and priests shine in combat, and wizards dominate the environment. Character skill versus player skill. Characters aren't the only ones who level up. Players also gain experience. For example, players will learn whether to look for secret doors and what the tells are, As they go on more adventures, they will become better at gameplay. Encourage this by giving players the opportunity to make decisions that rely on their creativity and wits, not on the dice rolls or the stat bonuses. And you might run into a little bit of the issue of metagaming in that case, and you should always keep a separation between the player knowledge and the character knowledge. But in general, I agree with the statement that we just covered. Rules versus rulings. If there were a rule for every situation, we would be living inside the rule book instead of the game world. As the GM, you have infinite power with only a handful of rules. Stat checks and the standard DCs can resolve any action. You need nothing more. Rather than pour through the book adjudicating using what you already know, make a ruling, roll the dice, and keep on going. Not the enemy. Neutral arbiter. You're not the player's enemy. You're portraying the world as it is. Roll your dice out in the open and let the players create their own trouble. ShadowDark RPG has the following mechanics that tempt the players into taking risks. Random encounters. Characters push their luck the longer they linger in dangerous areas. Not all wandering monsters are hostile, but there's no guarantee. Light timers. If the characters run out of light, they have a poor chance of surviving a monster attack or deadly trap. Resource management. Gear slots are precious. It is more important to make room for treasure or bring extra torches. Is it more? That's a question. XP. The temptation of treasure and XP pulls many characters deeper into the dungeon. Character death. Character deaths will happen, especially among zero-level adventurers. The dice can be fickle, and crawlers sometimes get into more trouble than they can handle down in ShadowDark. When a character dies due to their player's choices, and it makes sense, it was a just death. If there is uncertainty, did you remember to add your Constitution modifier to the death timer? Clarify, and then let fate fall. A game world without death is one without risk or tension. Setting the tone. The world. This is your game world. What is your game world like? Decide on a few major elements to start. You'll want to consider the following: environment, how much magic there's in the world, what is the overall theme. Characters. Are there any character creation rules in your game world? For example, some GMs only allow lawful or neutral characters, allow the players' ideas to shape reality. Is the priest from an order of witch hunting zealots? Is the fighter a Red Siege veteran? Add those backstory elements into your game world. Session 0. Help the players make their characters ahead of the first session. This is an opportunity for the players to establish how their characters know each other, build out backstories, and roleplay precursory scenes. Start small. You don't have to develop much for your first game. You need a starting location, a few interesting NPCs, and a short adventure site. Since the characters already know each other, from session 0, kick off the first game in the middle of a dangerous incident or dramatic situation. Bring on the action. I really like that, because oftentimes they don't start off right in the thick of things. They always start off like they're preparing to leave for adventure rather than right into the adventure. So that's a really cool idea, and something that, to be honest, I've never really done. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to doing, and see how that works out. That sounds a really good idea. Problems and rumors lead to adventures. If you keep introducing both to the characters, your world will continue to sprout and grow. Let there be darkness. Let's see if I'm going beyond what I was looking to go beyond. So, no, I'm not up there yet. So just a couple more pages. I'm just double checking to see, or maybe I did go beyond. I thought I had. Let there be darkness. No, one more section. Sorry about that. Unscripted and Unchained, right? Attack the light. If you're not aware already, ShadowDark uses real-time light sources. And so if you have a torch, it's going to burn for a real-time 1 hour. So you're setting these timers to set when a torch has to be replaced. A main source of the time pressure in ShadowDark is the limited duration of light sources. Don't let light sources be set it and forget it. The characters must protect their light sources and keep them from going out. Here are some ideas for how to attack the light source. Imperil torches and lanterns on random encounter tables. Have enemies try to extinguish light sources. Have opposing spellcasters hit the target of light spells with dispel magic or other magic neutralizing effects. Have the environment put the light source at risk. Gusts of wind, dead magic zones, thin air, dripping cave ceilings, explosive gases, or falling debris. Remember that dropping a torch or a lantern might extinguish and break it. And so we have light source mishaps that you could also utilize here. And finally, the last section we're going to cover today is modes of play. Excuse me. Mix and match these optional rules to create new challenges and gameplay styles. You have the Blitz mode. Light timers last 30 minutes instead of an hour. Chaos mode. Re-roll initiative at the start of every combat round. Deadly mode. Death timers are always 1. A DC 18 intelligence to stabilize the dying. Fatal mode. Characters die at 0 hit points. No death timers. Grinder mode. You only regain hit points equal to 1 roll of your hit points die and 1 stat damage per stat with each successful rest. Dwarves roll with advantage. Spellcasters choose 1d4 lost spells to regain after a successful rest. Hunter mode. Defeated monsters grant XP equal to half their level rounded down. Momentum mode. You have advantage on checks to repeat an action you failed if you try the exact same action again on your next turn. Damage dice explode. If you roll maximum damage on a die roll again and add it to the total, there is no cap. Pulp mode. There are no maximum luck tokens a player can have. Players start every session with 1d4 luck tokens. You can use a luck token to turn a hit into a critical hit. You can use a luck token to take advantage, to take an extra to action, or you can use a luck token to force the GM to re-roll a roll. I would certainly never allow that last one there, but they can always take a re-roll on their consequence. I'm thinking about modifying the pulp mode in a certain way where the characters can, or the players can, contribute to a party pool, and that party pool of added tokens beyond their normal maximums would then be used by party consent to use to initiate something that the overall party will be benefited by. I'll get into more details with that, but I'm already looking for some ways to homebrew some of this, but a lot of these I really like. And some of them I've already used prior to ShadowDark as well, like Hunter mode, getting half XP for defeated creatures rather than just having to kill them all. And you could have different consequences for defeating as well. But for the most part, and I agree with a lot of these. I would use portions of them. Probably not Blitz mode. Chaos mode, nah. I don't need to reroll initiative every round. Probably not deadly mode either. If you're not using deadly mode, then the fatality mode is kind of moot. Probably wouldn't bother with the grinder mode either. So I'll probably just go with the hunter mode and the momentum and the pulp mode for certain things. I kind of like exploding dice, so that's kind of exciting as well. So anyway, let's get back to here now. So as you can see, I mean, there's a lot of very useful tips and tools to be used in ShadowDark. You know, for game masters, whether you're new or an experienced or veteran game master. As you can see, I already see things in here that even I can see, like, hey, that would be really useful to actually use in a you know, in other games that I'm running or whatnot. So you know, you can teach old dogs new tricks, and that's what I like a lot about ShadowDark, is that it does have a very old school feel, you know, to it, and yet some of these newer mechanics and ideas, you know, just make sense. And so that's what I like so much about it, is that, you know, I can see, and they're universally make sense too. So I can definitely see taking some of those ideas and moving them to other game systems as well. But certainly I'm going to be using them for ShadowDark. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a great weekend. It was a long weekend for many of us. You know, just a quick comment on Memorial Day. So, you know, I would like to acknowledge that, you know, this is Memorial Day. To me, I don't call it, as a veteran, I don't call it a, you know, happy Memorial Day kind of thing. My father was a World War II veteran. He has passed. He passed in 2008. And his service as a World War II veteran, and you know, someone who at the age of, you know, 18 and 19 years old, you know, fought across, you know, from the shores of France through to eventually ending up in the city of Berlin, you know, having fought all the way through, is something that I couldn't imagine, even I, as a Desert Storm veteran. You know, the experiences were vastly different. My father literally came home at 19 years old with a full head of gray hair, and you know, that was, you know, attributed to the amount of stress that he had and the fighting that he experienced. And so, you know, Memorial Day, I recognize it as a day when we commemorate those servicemen and women who not only lost their lives in combat, which is, you know, a whole different level of sacrifice that was paid, but also for the veterans who later on passed on. You know, so I look at it as a very different day than Veterans Day, and I will most likely do a separate video, you know, just to do a Veterans or a Memorial Day video. But anyway, in case you don't catch that, or that doesn't come out until sometime tomorrow, I just wanted to leave that here at the tail end of this video as well. So you all have a great day. Looking forward to the new week, and I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon, and at a convention, hopefully even sooner. I'm going to a convention on June 8th, so less than 2 weeks away, and I'll actually be running ShadowDark, and so that's going to be a lot of fun too. So hopefully I'll be introducing the game to some new people that have never played it before, so really looking forward to that. So you will have a great rest of your week. Thanks for stopping, and take care.